We've got some crazy Rams trade rumors to get into and 5 Rams that could lose their spot in the 2025 season and an update on Stetson Bennett. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me DMAC. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've been covering LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation, Chat Sports. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. And today we've got a jam-packed show. We're talking about some trade possibilities. I'm answering some of your questions from the comment section about some targets. Also, some trade rumors, things that did or did not go down. A little on Jalen Ramsey. We're also talking about positions that are up for grabs and a Stetson Bennett update that you will not want to miss. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Okay, so before we get into it, I thought this was pretty hilarious. Kurl, he tweeted out, LMAO, I ain't playing Madden this year. He also had a middle finger emoji, and that's because if you saw the new Madden trailer, he's getting juked by Saquon Barkley in that division round loss in the snow. And, yeah, he said he's not going to play. So you got to feel for him. But I certainly will be playing Madden. I was playing NCAA because, you know, you can't get enough football. Sometimes you have to play video games. The only time I get to UCLA football win, it's an NCAA, and it's a video game. But let's get into some rumors here. And ESPN, Jeremy Fowler, he put out some trade proposals for Jalen Ramsey. And right now it doesn't feel like there's a lot of teams out there that are aggressively going after Jalen Ramsey because of how much he's owed on the contract. But Jeremy Fowler still expects him to be traded in the next couple of days or weeks. And then ESPN's Dan Graziano, he put out some offers that the Rams could make for Jalen Ramsey. And the offer is a 2026 fifth-round pick, a 2026 sixth-round pick, cash considerations, and the Rams would cover at least $12 million of Ramsey's $20.2 million in guaranteed money. And another one could throw out, you give up a 2026 seventh-round pick, and you get some other cash considerations, and you take on more of that money. Graziano said, my feeling is Ramsey gets released rather than traded, but either way, I'd argue the Dolphins aren't going to get a ton for him. The Rams know and like Ramsey. He likes it in Los Angeles too. So with this offer, it makes sense for the Rams to flip the pick they got from Baltimore in the Tre'Davious White deal. So I think you look at Graziano's deal, that's a good deal for the Rams. Only give him a seventh-round pick next year, and you don't have to cover the additional money in Ramsey's contract. And that is a deal where, look, I mean, you don't look at it, okay, it's $20 million. You look at, okay, they're covering some of it. You're not giving them very much as far as draft capital. I mean, you got what you did in the Tre'Davious White deal, so it almost feels like money that you found under the couch anyway, a little $20 bill in the seat cushion. So I don't think it's going to break you. And look, the truth is, the biggest takeaway from this is it's widely accepted that the cost of Ramsey from a draft capital standpoint is going to be extremely on the low side. And the Rams, as far as being able to afford him, they can. So, I mean, that's just the most important thing with that is they can afford him. So it's not going to cost a lot. as far as the draft picks go. But as far as committing to money, sure, there's that. And that's the biggest hurdle. That's the biggest hurdle because you're bringing on a 30-year-old cornerback. But still, I think there is some positive takeaways. I mean, some other proposals from the ESPN experts for other teams. They had the Panthers giving up a 4th-round pick, the Chargers and Dolphins swapping late-round picks in 2027. But let's not forget, kind of the big kicker in all this is we know for a fact that Ramsey likes it here. We know for a fact that this organization is willing to bring him back and has been very open about that. So that, I think, is in the Rams' favor, and we don't know that other organizations would, one, embrace him, and two, if he would embrace them back. So, of course, sure, there's other teams other than the Rams. I'm not saying the Rams are the only team that Jalen Ramsey wants to get traded to, but it does feel like a happy reunion. I mean, it's kind of like the boys are back in town type of thing. Now, I did get a question saying, D-Mac, should the Rams trade for Kyle Pitts? Should the Rams trade for Kyle Pitts? Now, Kyle Pitts has always been an extremely talented player as far as just raw talent, as far as a guy that everyone thought was going to be a great player. I mean, he comes out of Florida, tons of talent, and he was someone that a lot of experts thought, okay, this is the can't-miss pick. I mean, he was the 4th pick as a tight end in the 1st round back in 2021. Has he lived up to the hype? No, he has not. And I think for Pitts, it's always been, hey, is this an effort issue? Is this a buy-in issue? Would he do better with better coaching? I mean, there's all these factors. I mean, overall, his overall grade last year for tight ends based on PFF grades, he had a 59.6 grade. That was 33 out of 37 for tight ends. The receiving grade, 29 out of 37. I mean, throughout his career, there's definitely some flashes for sure. And I do think, look, with the Rams, if you get it for nothing, look at, they just brought in a tight end in Colby Parkinson that they signed for $22.5 million, and he did not work out. So, I mean, theoretically, yeah, I mean, they're willing to invest in that position, and sometimes they take some L's in free agency. We understand that. But you still have Higbee, who, I mean, you definitely feel like at the very least you can get something out of him to start the season. And then you have Terrence Ferguson. So unless they don't think highly of Ferguson, which I know they don't do, or unless they think, oh, the early impressions are, oh, he's not the guy we thought when we drafted him, well, that's not the case. They have been impressed by him early on, and I wouldn't be shocked if after first 5-6 weeks of the season, he's already having a prominent role in the Rams offense. So Higbee is the kind of the legacy tight end right now in the organization, and they want to do right by him too. I mean, they don't want to just kick him to the curb for a project in Kyle Pitts, even if the Kyle Pitts situation is more of a, okay, this is a reclamation project. This is a, okay, low risk, high reward. Let's see if we can get him into our building. Let's see if we can impact him with our strong culture. I just don't think it's worth it. I really don't. I mean, I think that Pitts has had years and years to figure it out. I mean, I'll never forget just like the low effort play that he made last year that kind of cost him a touchdown. And we also don't know about 100% if he's fully healthy. I mean, Raheem Morris said recently that they'll be extremely cautious with Kyle Pitts, and he said that you won't see him. He's here. He's been here, but we're going to be extremely cautious with him. And yeah, I mean, that is another factor as well, as you don't know his health. I mean, he did catch 47 passes last year for 602 yards with 4 touchdowns. There's something there. There is, but I just don't think the Rams are desperate for a tight end. And I think that too, that could possibly just throw a wrench in how they're trying to develop that position. I truly believe that there's a world where Ferguson ends up as a better tight end than Pitts. But look, 602 yards is nothing to sneeze at. And if they think that, only way I would do is if you really just want to be cruel and cold, which is, this is an NFL, this is a business. And for me, I'm all about putting together the best roster. I'm not doing anyone favors for my rule for doing players favors for work past due is if you're a future Hall of Famer. If you're a future Hall of Famer, if you're a future getting your number retired, if you're a future walking statue, yeah, guess what? You get to go out on your own terms, especially if you help the Rams win a Super Bowl. Tyler Higbee is not that, right? So if they want to be cold and move on, then fine. But I also think that it would not make a lot of sense for the timeline. So that is where I'm at on that trade. But we got another very interesting trade rumor to get into in the next segment that is a very telling detail about the 2025 NFL draft that really tells you what the Rams are trying to do at a certain position. And we're also looking at 5 Rams players that can lose their position in 2025 and a Stetson Bennett update that you won't want to miss. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. And tonight is the start of the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers 9.5-point underdogs. Hey, you might like the yes sirs. You might like Halliburton and the gang. I like the Thunder in this series. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that Thunder, looking to win their first NBA title. And, hey, it's going to be a big night in OKC. And you get $200 in bonus bets. You get added the excitement if your first $5 bet hits. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. I mean, I'll say it one more time. You go to FanDuel.com right now. You place your first $5 bet, just $5. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. So that means if you put $5 on the Thunder covering the 9.5 and you win, you get $200. So it's a great way to get it going. So make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you hear podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Also want to send a special shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. You guys are what make this channel. You guys are what make this podcast what it is. Cannot do it without you guys. And we've got a lot of new listeners lately and a lot of new viewers lately. And if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the pod, join that Everyday Listeners Club. For June, we're doing 3 episodes a week minimum, but I'm going to sprinkle some more in, getting some interviews this month. So stay tuned for that. But we're almost at football season. So this is the time to lock in because it's more rewarding, right? The journey, the dream is the journey. And a part of the journey is all the little stuff that lead up to a Super Bowl. So now's the time to join the Everyday Listeners Club if you have not yet. And you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. All right, here in our second segment, going to pick up on some trade rumors. And this is interesting because we heard the rumors that the Rams wanted to trade up for Ted McMillan. And this was essentially confirmed by the Panthers general manager, Dan Morgan. He did say the Rams made an offer, but it could only be accepted by them if they went, quote, above and beyond. And they were not going to trade a future first-round pick, but if they did, they might have gotten that. And he said it's like if they want this, they're going to have to go above and beyond, kind of like what they did to us last year when they gave us the 2. That's because I was convicted on our guy. I really don't want to lose this player, but if we are going to lose the player and it's something that could be potentially beneficial and set us up for the future, if we get a load of picks out of them, then let's explore it. So I think that it's pretty clear the Rams were interested in this. They've been, last couple of seasons, it was Romo Dunze they wanted to trade up. They wanted to trade for Brock Bowers. They wanted to trade up for Dalton Kincaid. There's been a lot of developments that they wanted to trade up. Emeka Buka, I know they wanted, but the interesting thing in all of this is the Rams have Puka Nacua. You signed Devontae Adams in free agency. You got him in free agency. Tutu Atwell, you signed him to a 1-year, $10 million deal. But I think they're thinking long-term with Puka Nacua. And the truth is that instead, I think the Rams end up in a better spot. I'm glad that they didn't, because you feel good about the receiving core this year. You have talent in that room. You have, I think, first-tier talent. And I think the way it sets up now, instead of the Rams losing that 2026 first-round pick to trade up, Les Snead got a 2026 first-round pick from the Falcons by trading down, and they end up getting Pierce out of Tennessee. So instead of having no first-round picks in 2026, you have 2 first-round picks. So, look, we'll see. If Ted McMillan ends up being a future Hall of Famer, all-pro receiver, maybe you think twice about it. But I don't think that, like, let's say they didn't get Devontae Adams, then, yeah, you probably feel like, uh-oh, what are they going to do? I mean, Puka has injury issues, and we know that when he's healthy, he's great, but you feel less confidence about that group for an entire season than you might regret not pulling the trigger on a Ted McMillan thing. But we don't know if Ted McMillan's even a great receiver yet, right? He's still a rookie. And 2, the Rams could be in a position where you need to address the quarterback spot in next year's draft, and now they have ammunition to do that. And then on top of everything else, you have a draft pick that you can use to make a trade in the season for a missing piece, whether it be a cornerback, whether it be a skilled position player. You have to see how the market shapes up. Who's a buyer? Who's a seller? What's available? So I like the fact that the Rams, they have that flexibility and they have a war chest now, and you didn't burn it on a player like a Ted McMillan, because I think Ted McMillan's going to be a decent receiver for sure. But I would only do that if it was someone that I felt was generational, that was extremely talented, that was a game changer. Like if you had done it for Brock Bowers, look at the year he had last year. And I was screaming, hey, trade up for Brock Bowers. Trade up for Brock Bowers. I was the first person in the Rams world to say that early on. And turns out he was a game changer, had a great season. So interesting stuff to just kind of take a peek behind the curtain and see what the Rams are trying to do with the draft. And it does tell you, though, that they are constantly focusing on getting premium talent at that position. That is something the Rams want. They want elite at certain positions, and wide receiver is that. So if Devontae Adams is not here next season, they're going to be right back and trying to get an elite receiver. And Devontae Adams, it's all predicated on how he plays this year. Is Matthew Stafford coming back? A lot of different factors, but essentially it's a 1-year deal and you can get out of it. So I wouldn't be shocked to see this time next year the Rams, outside of Puka Nacua, have a complete new receiving core. I mean, we'll see if guys like a Jordan Whittington can emerge, but Tutu could be gone. Devontae Adams could be gone, and we'll see. Maybe the Rams, they address that position higher in the draft like they came close to doing in the last couple of seasons. Okay, some more stuff to get into. So we're looking at some Rams players that could lose their positions, and the first one is Cam Kurl. Now, Cam Kurl, we talked about him in the top of the show, and he has been a player that has not worked out. Let's just be honest. I mean, he hasn't been terrible. He really hasn't. I mean, he does his best work when he's up close to the line. The way the Rams were using him last year wasn't necessarily the way to best optimize him, in my opinion, but still, the results are the results, and he posted a career-low 79 combined tackles, started 16 games. He allowed 55.6% completion percentage in coverage, but he also gave 14.8 yards per completion. He also gave 4 touchdowns. So the numbers didn't love Cam Kurl last year, and I think for the Rams, the good thing is it wasn't a contract that was going to break the bank. He signed a 2-year deal worth $9 million. At the time, we were like, oh, man, there was a heist. They robbed him for Cam Kurl, but now we kind of see why. He just hasn't looked like an elite or great or good or above average player really for the most part at that position. This offseason, he's been hanging out with Stephon Diggs, but that's pretty interesting. I mean, well, hopefully he's not doing crazy stuff on those yachts and those boat parties, but still, I mean, I think if we're at that position, that's there's an opening there. I mean, he's had 3 picks in his 5-year career, and they were all in his rookie season, so it hasn't been great when it comes to getting turnovers. So I could see that the Rams, I mean, who knows? I mean, you could just put Quentin Lake back into the safety spot, and then if you get Jalen Ramsey, you could have him in the slot. You could have him move around a little bit too. So if you get Jalen Ramsey, that could move Kurl out of a job. So look, Lake is not great in coverage, but I think he has more upside. I think he hasn't reached his full potential. He gave up 4 touchdowns last year, and you're probably going to keep Kurl on the roster just because you don't have too many options. But it's certainly a position that you say to yourself, well, maybe depending on what they do in the next couple of weeks, hey, he could be gone. So it'll be interesting to see what Cam Kurl does. I mean, I think the other thing you have to factor in too is Cameron Kinchins. He already looks like he could be a top 10 to 15 safety in this league. And he has been a guy that really turned heads last season. So I look at that. I look at that as a spot that is surely up for grabs. I mean, Akella Witherspoon's another guy, of course. I mean, it was a good move, I think, to bring him back for depth for sure. And they are going to be in the market for a corner. We know that. And he's just good. Like when he is in advantageous spots, he's not the perfect corner, but he can make plays in big spots. And I think that for him, it's really a matter of, okay, if other guys light comes on, then you have a problem. Like Kobe Durant and Darius Williams and Terrion Kendrick, and if they bring in Ramsey. But I don't see him getting a lot better. Right? I think that he is what he is, and what he is helpful, but I don't think that his ceiling is high. That, oh, this is the breakout. You know, he's already at an age and an experience level where you say, guys, he is what he is. And we see he has a nose for the football and can make some big plays, but also has some deficiencies as well. And then coming up, we're going to talk some Stetson Bennett. What did Mike LaFleur, Rams offensive coordinator, say about Stetson Bennett and the improvements or non-improvements that he's made? That's coming next on Locked On Rams. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Also, another reminder, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button for your Los Angeles Rams. All right, let's talk some Stetson Bennett. So Stetson Bennett, he's had a roller coaster really of a career, right? I mean, high highs, low lows, national championships, playing with the Rams, and he missed a whole year. And then he saw his team pick up Jimmy Garoppolo and kind of leave him in a situation where, yeah, I mean, he's not guaranteed a spot. So he's another guy that I think is going to be fine to stay on this roster for sure. But the Rams offensive coordinator, he has seen a, quote, ton of growth from Stetson Bennett. He says about the former Bulldog quarterback, a ton of growth, particularly from 2 years ago. A lot of credit to him working on what he needed to work on to get himself into this situation, but a ton of credit that quarterbacks coach Dave Ragone too, and I'll say even Jimmy and Matthew. I think they've done a great job of just putting arms around him, mentoring him. What awesome 2 quarterbacks to learn from that have won a crap ton of games in this league. Proud would be the wrong word, but for lack of a better term, proud of where he's at, and he's just continuing to go. So he was asked, really, what is he right now, and what is that improvement? He said he's ready to do what he needs to, and the fact that he's continuing to play football and participating in practice is definitely telling you that, hey, he's still all in. I mean, he's still, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to take this NFL dream as far as I can take it before someone says no. And right now, no one has said no. People are saying, okay, we still want to see more. So that works in his favor, and he really does. LaFleur said he just needs to play football, right? We're out here again. We're out here playing flag football in shorts right now. But I know this. He's going about his process in a professional way each and every day to give himself the best chance when he inevitably gets his opportunity in August in the preseason. So Bennett played all 3 preseason games last year, just like he did in his rookie season. He threw for 437 yards, had 2 touchdowns, but he was tied for the most interceptions of any quarterback in the preseason with 5. So if he does not take a step forward, the Rams, they can move on in August. I mean, that's just the truth. They got to go down to 53 players, and you already have Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterbacks that are 100% locks. So will they keep 3 quarterbacks again? That's the big question. If they feel like they can add at another position, then maybe they'll move on from Bennett. I mean, that's just going to be the tough decision for them. But I think the number one thing about all this and my biggest takeaway is, hey, it looks like he's healthy. It looks like he's mentally healthy. It looks like he's in a good spot where he's not dealing with everything that he was dealing with in his first couple of years in the National Football League. So I like that. I mean, that's my number one thing, because I think it's a situation where, I mean, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a career lifer in the NFL when it comes to just whether it's a backup, whether it's a third string, a practice squad, I mean, whatever it may be. I mean, he's already kind of living the football dream, in my opinion. I mean, he's already overcome the odds where, I mean, no one thought that this guy would ever be in the NFL, let alone stay along and kind of, I mean, he's obviously, we know the jokes about him, right? You know, he'll be 42 by the time his rookie contract ends. No, he's 27. Okay. Turns 28 in October. But I don't think that teams around the league view him as a starter. Maybe there could be moments where he gets an opportunity. You can have some fun with him for some time. He can win you some games. But let's not forget, it's a 4th-round pick. This is not someone that they have a lot invested in. I mean, this is a guy that was a walk-on at Georgia. He played college football at the Jones College, for the Jones College Bobcats. Okay? This guy's already won in life. I mean, I'm telling you, he's 5'11", and he's still in the NFL. So, yeah, I love the fact that he's still fighting for his spot. By the way, I got an update on what we talked about. The everyday listeners will know Aaron Donald and Jared Verse going at it, and Jared Verse challenging Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald, he said he kind of took a shot back, saying, "Hey, somebody put the word out. I'm looking for you, Verse." And he was yelling that at his home gym on his Instagram. He said, "I'm looking for you. Come to the house. I just want to talk. That's it. Nothing much, big dog. Just a little conversation. Put up a little weights. Do a little cardio. The old man retirement workout. Put you through it. See what you can do. I just want to talk. Come on. I just want to talk." So, hey, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear, Jared Verse. I thought it was great stuff, though. I want to see those. They really got to go to they really have to do a little reality show or something. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.